Hello and welcome. Look, if you've ever had that light bulb moment for an app, a cool new brand of sneakers, or, I don't know, the world's greatest food truck, then you are in the right place. We are going to break down the first essential steps any entrepreneur has to take to turn that amazing idea into a real, actual business. So let's jump right in.
Awesome. I mean, that's where it all begins, right? It doesn't matter if it's a little side project or a grand plan to change the world. That first spark, that idea, that's the most critical part of the whole journey. But what's next?
Right, because an idea by itself isn't a business. Not yet. To give it legs, to make it real, you have to make some pretty fundamental choices about what your business is going to look like and how it's going to work out in the real world.
And here they are. These are the 4 biggies we're going to walk through. First, how are you going to own it? Second, where are you going to operate? Third, what will you actually be doing? And finally, how big do you want to go? So let's tackle that first one.
Okay, this is probably the most important decision you'll make right at the very beginning. It decides who's in charge, who's responsible if things go wrong, and how the law views your business. Honestly, the whole thing boils down to a major trade-off. It's all about how much control you want versus how much personal risk you're willing to take.
So the options kind of build on each other. You can start out as a sole trader, that's the simplest way, it's just you, or you could bring in a co-founder or two and form a partnership. And then there's the big one, creating a company, which is treated like a totally separate legal person from its owners.
So those first two, the sole trader and the partnership, we call those unincorporated. And that phrase right there, no separate legal existence, is the most important part to get your head around. It means that as far as the law is concerned, you and your business are exactly the same thing. And that has one massive implication.
And this slide says it all. Over on the left, with an unincorporated business, you have unlimited liability. That means if your business gets into debt, they can come after your personal assets, your house, your savings, your car to pay it off. Scary stuff. But on the right, if you form a company, you get limited liability. That creates a legal shield that protects your personal stuff. The company is responsible for its own debts, and your risk is only what you've invested. Huge difference.
So, here's the bottom line. When you incorporate, you create a legal separation. The business becomes its own thing. You can think of it like a protective wall, sometimes called the veil of incorporation, that stands between the business's finances and your personal finances. The business can own things, it can be sued, all by itself.
Okay, deep breath. That was the heavy legal stuff. Now for the fun part, thinking big. After you've figured out your legal structure, you've got to think about your reach. Is your amazing idea meant for your local neighborhood, the whole country, or are you dreaming even bigger?
You know, you could be a local business, like that neighborhood restaurant everyone loves. Or you could scale up and become a national business, operating right across the country. Or you could go for a global business, a multinational corporation with offices all over the world. Think Google, think Coca-Cola.
All right, so you know how you're structured, you know where you'll operate, but what does your business do? Every single business fits into what we call an industry sector. It's really just a simple way of grouping businesses that do similar kinds of work.
Now check out this chart. It shows a huge shift in how our economy works. Just look at it. The massive majority of jobs in Australia are now in the service sectors. That's quaternary, tertiary, and quinary all combined. We're talking more than 70% of all jobs. So what's the takeaway? We're an economy that runs on services, on knowledge, and on information, not just on farms and factories anymore. So here's a quick and easy breakdown. Primary is all about pulling raw materials out of the earth. Secondary is about making stuff from those materials. Then the last 3, they're all about services. Tertiary is providing direct services like retail. Quaternary is all about knowledge and info, think IT. And quinary covers services that have often been done at home like childcare or hospitality. So this last decision is pretty straightforward, but it's really important. The size of your business isn't just about your ambition. It's an official category that can impact everything from taxes to government grants. And the easiest way to measure it is super simple. How many people work for you? Here are the official definitions from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. A microbusiness, fewer than 5 employees. A small business has between 5 and 19. Medium is 20 up to 199. And if you cross that 200 employee mark, congratulations! You are officially a large business. And check this out, it's a pretty mind-blowing fact. We always hear about the huge, famous companies. But the real engine, the heart of the Australian economy, it's small and medium-sized businesses. They make up a whopping 98% of all businesses in the country. Let that sink in. So, if you're starting small, you're in very, very good company. Okay, we have covered the 4 key ways to classify a business.
So, you think you're ready to put that knowledge to the test? Let's try it out on a quick case study. Here's our company, Rosie & Sons. We know they're in manufacturing, they operate in more than 50 countries, and they have 550 employees. Just think back for a second on everything we just talked about.
So how would you break it down? What's its size, what's its geographical spread, and what's its industry sector? Take a second, think it through.
So how'd you do? With 550 employees, it's definitely a large business. Operating in over 50 countries makes it global. And since it's a manufacturing business, it falls squarely into the secondary industry sector. See? See how that framework just lets you neatly analyze and understand pretty much any business you come across?
And that's the real point here. These classifications, legal structure, geographical spread, industry, and size, they're not just boring terms from a textbook. They are your essential toolkit for analyzing, for understanding, and, maybe one day, for building a business from the ground up.
We've covered the what, the where, the how, and the how big. So really, there's only one question left. And it's the one that brings us right back to the beginning, back to that first spark of an idea. Now that you have the tools, what are you going to build?